I give you A2 is 250, A3 is 100, and N is 8, the directions are the same. Find the sum of the eight terms. In order to use the summation formula, you need to find the first term, R, and N. So this problem is a little easier because I gave you A3 and A2. To find R, you just have to divide. So A3 is 100 divided by 250. So you end up with, when you reduce it, 0.4, or you want to leave it as 2/5. Okay? So now I have R. Okay? To use the summation formula, I need S sub 8 gives me my first term, which we don't have. But I have my second term, and I know my ratio. So to find A1, we're going to take A2, which is 250, and divide by my common ratio. That's going to jump back one step, right? Multiplying goes to the right, dividing goes to the left. So A1 is 625. For summation, the sum of 8 terms then would give us 625 times 1 minus R, which is 2/5. And we want to find the sum of 8 terms, so we put the 8 in goes here, divided by 1 minus your 2/5. You're going to type it in your calculator to find the sum of your 8 terms. It gives you a decimal, which is fine. You get 1,040. Okay, the next one, number 5. I told you that A3 is negative 36, and A6 is negative 972, and N is 10. The directions are find the sum of the 10 terms. I need the first term and R. Okay. When you're looking at this problem, I've got the third term and the sixth term, right? So how many jumps am I making to get from 3 to 6? How many jumps is that? 3. Yeah, and you have to find R, okay? So I need to know how many jumps I'm at. Okay, so if I start at negative 36 times R with 3 jumps, lands at negative 972. That's how I like to think of it. You can divide if you'd rather. You can say, if you don't want to do it that way, another way to think about it is negative 972 divided by 3 jumps lands at negative 36. But when you do that, you're going to end up with this anyways. So either way you visually see it is fine. So divide both sides by negative 36. And you get 27. It's a cube root of 27. 3. So each jump is multiplied by 3. To find the summation, you have to have the first term, and I only have the third. Okay? So I would take the third term, and how many jumps backwards do I need to make? 2. You have to show me how you got the first term. Okay? So you can either use the complicated A sub n formula, which takes longer, or you can just say, all right, I'm at to find A1, I'm going to take negative 36, and I'm going to divide backwards how many jumps? 2 jumps, right? Because this is A3. To get to A1, I've got to take 2 jumps. So A1 gives you negative 4. Okay, now I'll give you a second to try to find the sum of the 10 terms. Use your formula to find it. What did you get for the sum? You have to practice typing it in your calculator, because if you don't, it gives you some crazy answers and it's harder to do. The sum of 10 terms, don't forget the 10, okay, is negative 4, 1 minus 3 to the 10th power, divided by 1 minus 3. So the sum of your 10 would be negative 118,000. That's what I was trying to say. You have to be careful. If you don't have a calculator that will do the fraction bar, you should do the top answer, and you should get 236,192, and do the bottom answer. Okay, let's move to a different type of problem. This is find A1 for the geometric series. It tells me the sum is negative 364, R is negative 3, and N is 6. So that's the pieces of information that we have. Keep in mind the formula for the sum. Okay, I'm asking for the first term here. I have R, I have N, and I have the sum, right? So all you have to do is plug it in and solve for A1. It's very easy. So negative 364 equals A1 times 1 minus negative 3 to the 6th power divided by 1 minus negative 3. Like I said before, it's not going to be plugging it in where you're going to struggle. It's going to be your algebra and calculator skills. So I would clean this part right here, guys, up and clean this up. And then rewrite it and make it a little simpler. So negative 364 equals A1, negative 728 divided by 4. When you multiply 4 by both sides and divide by 728, what does the first term give you? What you'll get? Yeah. It should be 2. Okay? All right, we're down to the last type of problem. The directions are express each series in sigma notation. So express in sigma notation. It's going to give you a series. Do you remember what sigma notation means and what it looks like? What? It's that sideways in, right? That's sigma notation. What does sigma notation mean? When I ask for sigma notation, what are you actually having to do? Find what? Yeah, find the sum. So you're gonna, what it wants is for you to write a little sigma that when you plug things in, it will produce this sequence here. Does that make sense? I want you to write a sigma notation that when I plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth, I'm going to get this. How many numbers am I going to need to plug in to produce this to begin with? How many? How many terms are there here? 6. So that's the first place to start, realizing that there are 6 terms. So draw your sigma notation, and n should start at 1 and go through 6, because we need 6 terms. Okay? Now I've got to create a rule. Something so that when I plug in 1, I'm going to get 75. When I plug in 2, I'm going to get 15, and so forth, right? When I plug in 3, you're going to get 3. Okay, so what you have to put right here, you can write yourself a little note if you want. You need to find the rule for the nth term, okay, of this geometric sequence. Okay, of this geometric series. Sorry. So you got to find a rule. Okay, guys, a rule has to keep in it. So when I plug in, I've got something to plug a 1 into. I have something to plug a 2 into. A rule will have an in, or an x, or something. It might be 3x plus 2, or 3x minus 5. So if you come up with a rule, okay, for geometric, the rule is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power. That's the rule. Correct? In other words, if I want the first term, if I want a sub 1, I plug a 1 in for n. If I'm looking for a sub 2, I plug a 2 in for n. So let's figure out what to put here in its place to make this work. So my first term is 75. What's my common r? How do I get this direction? R is 15 divided by 75, which is 1/5. Good. So times 1/5. Do I need to plug in something for n? No, it's a rule. You need n. You need a variable so you can plug something in. So n minus 1. If you plug in 1 for this n, you're going to get 75. If you plug in 2, you're going to get 15, and so forth. And that's all it's asking. It didn't actually ask me to find the sum. The directions were expressed in sigma notation, and there it is, in sigma notation. Okay? Now you try one. It's a last notes problem. Same directions, express in sigma notation. How many terms are there? Okay, so that gives you a place to start. So you need n 1 to 5. And then you have to write a rule. You need to write a rule for the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, right? You know it's geometric, that's all we're talking about right now. So I want n 1 through 5. I'm going to use this formula to come up with something. I'm going to use this formula. My first term is what? 9. My common ratio would be negative 12 divided by 9, so negative 4/3, n minus 1. It's that easy. Okay, you should have to understand what it's asking.